I ask you to think of a leader, whom would you think of? I would think of Moses standing in front of his people with the 10 Commandments in his arms. I would think of Martin Luther King standing before his country with a dream in his heart. I would think of Malala standing in front of the world with the Nobel Peace Prize in her small hand. When we think of a leader, we often think of this very dynamic. One person standing alone, speaking passionately to a crowd. That person made into a leader because others are following her. I've been a student and teacher of leadership for the past 3 decades, and this is what I have learned. That the image that we conjure up when we think of true leadership is a false image. We respect the leaders in our lives, our Bibles, and our history books, and we often revere them. Even if these leaders have never been elevated to a mountaintop or to the steps of a monument, we elevate them in our imagination. But that high position is not why we hold them in such a high regard. We admire our leaders because they have held themselves to such a high standard, and in doing so, they have inspired us to do the same. People always ask me, how can I become a great leader? They want to know the answers to the question of what, where, when, and even why should I be a great leader? But they're forgetting the most important question of all. Who? Who am I? What do I stand for? What am I willing to sacrifice for? When you are able to answer the question of who, it's the beginning of understanding self. And when you understand self, you develop for yourself your own personal GPS, one that will always direct you. Each and every one of us, every day, faces all kinds of storms of situations. Without a solid set of values, it will feel as if we are experiencing our challenges and our storms for the very first time. As we try to keep up with the ever-evolving world around us, each and every one of us must develop an inner architecture. We must develop our own core inner compass. But how do we do that? We must identify what are our values. We must learn what's important to us. And then we must take all that information and use it to serve others. In the words of a great leader, Martin Luther King, he said, "You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't even have to know Plato or Aristotle to serve. You don't even have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. So what do you need?" He went on to say, all you need to have is a heart full of grace and a soul generated by love. But some people still make the mistake of thinking leadership is being at the right place or the right time. It's about opportunity or lack of opportunity. Leadership begins with knowing who you are.